It says I'm live. Am I live? Are you alive? Live at 4:05, 4:06, I think, to be exact. I I give you guys a minute to get in to the chat. So I'll just start rambling on as I clean my glasses, and I'll switch it from top chat to live chat and start doing my little spiel. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something. All my videos are made for YouTube. It's an infotainment platform. I have new braces. I have a new mic. I hope they work well together. And please hit that like button if you'd be so kind. Make sure that you're still subscribed in the event that you are subscribed. And if you're not, please consider subbing up. Share a video of mine with somebody that you think will like my channel. Turn on your notification bell to ring. And I think I covered it all. Hello, everyone. I think we are everyone. And BoobTube, just listening, no chatting for me today. Oh, you are so sweet. Thanks for saying hi and letting me know. And my goodness, there's already 6 people in the house. Well, I wonder how many of them are bots because I used the Trumpster Fire's face for my thumbnail. I bet it's just us and 4 bots, wouldn't you think? I knew that was high risk. And hashtag Trumpstein files. So thanks for being here, you guys. And let me go ahead and highlight a comment so I get into that habit of pinning a message. I'm always excited to come on and chat with my viewers. However, I was just not feeling it today with all the activity in the house. It's very hard for me to do my thing when there's most of the family around. So, and they're unpredictable. Then they don't tell me their schedules and, anyway, you know me. I probably said it so many times you're sick of hearing it, but I really do like to remind myself, if that's my biggest problem, how effing lucky am I, right? And yeah, I'd say my teeth are my biggest problem today, but I'm going to try to be careful. I'm going to try to not bite my tongue because it just hurts too much when I do. So I'm going to probably kind of talk slow and low. So I wasn't really feeling so excited to get on because there's just a lot of crap going on today, like usual, when it comes to the country and the politics and the bigger picture. And some of the things that were really burning at me today, 2 things, or way more than 2, but 2 the most. The National Guard being unleashed in Washington, D.C. I think the Washington, D.C. police have been told to stand down or something. I'm not clear. What I do know is that it's bogus. This is in response to graffiti, medians falling down in the road, and big balls getting fake attacked last week. I am sorry, but if you're going to try to pull a stunt like that, at least have 3 or 5 people get fake attacked, right? I mean, and maybe not someone so high profile and so obvious, but I think that's part of, I don't know, the stupidity or the brazenness, the bravado of just like doing crap in everyone's face. Like, yeah, we're just going to pretend that Big Balls was attacked and then we'll turn the National Guard onto the city. Yeah, that makes sense. No, it doesn't. But the other big thing, if you haven't heard yet, there was a huge explosion, I believe, in Pennsylvania in a town called Clairton. And so it's the U.S. Steel Clairton Coke Works. I don't know that much about it other than that it happened a few hours ago and there were many injured. It said mass casualty, but I don't think that always means fatalities. I think that means injuries. and there were a bunch of people trapped. So trapped and injured, which obviously can lead to fatalities. I don't know an update on that. If you guys do, please share. I don't think it's a coincidence, and I know that it's a little early to jump to that conclusion, but this Trumpster fire is freaking out for good reason. He's getting his rear end nailed. So there was a judge in San Francisco that just made like an emergency declaration that they're moving forward with a criminal trial against this administration for their unleashing the National Guard in Los Angeles, I believe. So that's exciting. What I found even more exciting is, so that was like a surprise criminal trial against the U.S. administration by a San Francisco judge. I can't barely read this red pen in this light, but oh, did you hear about Trumpster Fire offering a cabinet appointment to Little E, allegedly, in the first administration? Did you hear about that, Anna Bees? Hello, hello. So great to see you guys. So the really good news is I was just watching a Katie Fang, who, you know, I love her channel. I love that all these mainstream media professionals have their own channels now, and they're not constrained by corporate dollars and pressures and all that they can do what they feel like is best, and they can share their opinions and they can share their own personal stories. So it just makes it a lot more real, basically. So Patricia Moss, hello, hello, Jazzy's Peps, you're so cute. No, I am your peep. You're not my peeps. I am your peep. Thanks for being here, you guys. Yes, Anna B's heard about it. So I looked up this article and I want to read it to you because it's so exciting I could almost cry. Are you ready? It's a National Public Radio NPR article from today at 9:52 a.m. by Ryan Lucas and Carrie Johnson. It's titled Judge Denies Release of Ghislaine Maxwell Grand Jury Transcripts. This is good, though. Are you ready? A federal judge in Manhattan on Monday, today, rejected the Trump administration's request to release grand jury transcripts from the Justice Department investigation into convicted Rex offender Jeffrey E.'s longtime confidant, Jizz Max, Max Jizz, right? The department asked the court last month to unseal the grand jury transcripts, which are generally secret, saying there was, quote, abundant public interest in the case. The unusual request was part of the administration's effort to tamp down the intense public blowback over its handling of the Little E files. And I heard somebody over the weekend say, let's quit calling them the Epstein files and start calling them the Trump files. I personally like Trumpstein, so that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to use that term. And rather than saying blowback over the handling of the Trumpstein files, I would say it's the blowback of the mishandling over the Trumpstein files. But on Monday, U.S. District Judge Paul Engelmeyer said that there were no special circumstances to justify releasing the transcripts in Maxwell's case. Its entire premise that the Maxwell grand jury materials would bring to light meaningful new information about Little E and Jizz's crimes or the government's investigation into them is demonstrably false, Engelmeyer wrote. I think this was like over 20 pages that he wrote. He said the materials provided no new insight into Little E or Jizz clients, nor new information about the venue, new sources of their wealth, or the circumstances of Little E's death. There was no there. I'm so sick of that phrase. No there. But it is funny. And I guess it comes from a Virginia Woolf thing originally. I know I said I wasn't going to chat, but it's hilarious when her name isn't pronounced correctly. Sounds like a physical address for a harem. That's funny. Yeah. No, you're welcome to say that you're not going to chat and then change your mind and jump in at any time. Of course. You're more than welcome. Because, yeah, sometimes you want to say hi and then do what you're doing. I was doing that today. Oh, making the necklace that you can't even see. Remaking the necklace. That's a problem with the mic. So you might remember this necklace. It's like little glass discs, and I got a new cool thing to put at the bottom to kind of weigh it down. Anyway, enough about my jewelry, especially when you can't see it because of the mic setup. Shutting up now. Anyway, yeah, I was working on this necklace and I was in a live chat of Bear Pantry. I love that woman. I love her channel and she's just cool. If you don't know her channel, I'll put a link to it in the description. She's just a good egg. She's been doing it for a long time. And we have a lot in common. We like a lot of the same things. And our birthdays are less than a week away. So my birthday was the day before yesterday. Her birthday's coming up. Anyway, I think we're the same age too. Let's see, where was I? There was no there. The judge added Little E passed away in a federal lockup in 2019 while he was awaiting trial on Rex trafficking charges. And we cannot underscore enough who was the president at that point in time in 2019 and who was the AG, the Attorney General, William Barr, and how he really should have recused himself from anything Little E based on the conflict of interest with his father's history with Little E, giving him a job at a girls' high school without credentials. Right. Anyway, allegedly. And then also, I always want to mention that other dirtbag, Steve Bannon, who is a major dirtbag, but he was also actively interviewing Little E right up until his passing away. They were trying to make like a 60 Minutes type of interview to rehab his public image. But I wonder if that was a front just to give him full access to their captive monster, right? I mean, I think they put him in jail for a reason, not to put him on trial, but to rub him out. That's my opinion. And I'm allowed to have an opinion, right? Anyway, I think that's a lot of people's opinion, actually. I think that's the majority of our country right now. That, you know, and if he was Epstein, if he didn't Epstein himself, we have to look at who done it, who ordered it. Like, sure, who did it hands on, but more importantly, who was behind making that happen. And I think it's abundantly clear who your main person of interest may be, or your main world leader person of interest may be. And, you know, here he is constantly talking about rapists and red rummers and, you know, how we need to like lock them all up and deport them all, when in my opinion, that's exactly what he is. And yes, I think we do need to try him and lock him up. And I don't know about deporting him because he's an American citizen, but maybe deport his family members that aren't here legally, you know who I'm talking about. Ugh, it's just nuts. I mean, he's such a menace. Anyway, let me keep reading and quit opinionating myself. Open, and how do you say it? open. Yeah, it's like opine. I need to quit opining and just read. Okay. His death, which authorities have repeatedly said was a self-unaliving, has fueled conspiracy theories about Little E's abuse of underage girls and the actions of his associates. So they're not conspiracy theories if they're true and accurate. And I will argue that they are not conspiracy theories, that they are true and accurate, that his abuse of girls, and then when they say underage girls, why not just say little kids, right? I mean, let's just be forthright. His abuse of kids and the actions of his associates, which is another nicely polished way of saying his associates' raping of kids. And who were his associates? Who was his best friend? Who was his fake girlfriend, who was also super tight? Oh my goodness, you guys, I think I might have an idea potentially of how Little T and Little E met, and they might have met through Jizz. Jizz might have introduced them, which might be why the story is not told publicly. Because Jizz knew both of them through her father, who was a dirtbag and a half, and who was also probably Epstein, fell off his yacht. And there were other people on the yacht when he fell off, but everyone said they didn't see nothing. They didn't see nothing. I think it was like 4:30 in the morning, allegedly, when he fell out of his yacht, of his Jizz yacht. Man, do I sound crazy? Because this crap is crazy. I feel like I sound crazy. Better late than never. No notification. Fred, hello. How are you? Replace pinned message. And let's see. Where are we? Thanks for being here, you guys. They promised transparency on the Little E matter. Wait, no, here it was. The fueled conspiracy theories about Little E's abuse of kids and his associates raping children. Okay, let's just call it what it is. President T and some of the top officials in his administration, including FBI Director Kash Patel, dirtbag and a half, another one, they're all dirtbags. They all need to be tried and put in prison, don't they? And some of them for that T word that is like with reason, and I don't like to say it because it's not only a super serious offense, it is the most super serious consequences if you get charged with that. And I think that's exactly what a lot of these fools have been doing. So FBI Director Kash Patel for years helped stoke those conspiracy theories. Yeah, hey, I'm a podcast creator. Can I get a job in the cabinet? Kidding. I wouldn't want one, not even with a sign-on bonus. Thanks anyway. Okay. Before I forget, I started to mention yesterday about Dean Cain, how I went to school with him when I was a kid. And he was always a nerd with kind of like a stick up his rear end. He was not like the other kids. Like, he was good looking, so he was popular because of that, because he was tall, athletic, handsome, but he was a jackass. He was a jackass as a kid, and he's a jackass now. So, he played Superman, and now I guess he's decided he wants to be an ICE agent. Personally, I think he's just hard up for cash and publicity. So there you go. Anyway, I started to talk about him yesterday, but I didn't finish up with that whole little stupid story. So there it is. I'm going to keep reading. They promised transparency on the Little E matter, but in July, the Justice Department and FBI released a memo that knocked down several of those theories and said no further materials from the Little E investigations would be made public, touching off public outrage, including from Trump's MAGA base. I think some of them have actually forgiven him or gotten around it or forgotten about it. But for the most part, I think he's still in hot water with them because that was the biggest fake promise that he had them going on. And he's really made fools of them with all this crap. Anyway, in an effort to contain the fallout, the president, who knew little E, asked Attorney General Pam Bondi, who, again, a joke, she's ridiculous, to seek the release of grand jury transcripts from the department's investigations of little E and Jiz. The department followed up by asking 3 federal judges, 2 in Manhattan and 1 in Florida, to unseal the grand jury transcripts from investigations into little E and his longtime associate, Jiz Max Jiz. The judge in Florida, Robin Rosenberg, denied the request, saying the 11th Circuit law doesn't allow for the release of such records. I'm going to get to your comments in a second. I'm going to try to power through the rest of the article. Manhattan-based Judge Engelmeyer falls under the Second Circuit, where precedent allows for the public release of grand jury materials under certain special circumstances. Because, yeah, it's highly unusual. Grand jury is fully concealed usually. In this instance, the judge said that high threshold was not met. The judge said that high threshold was not met. Even if the transcripts had been released, expectations were low that anything significant would have emerged from them. The DOJ has previously said in court filings that in the little E case, the Trumpstein case, a single FBI agent was the only witness to testify before the grand jury. In the case against Jiz Max, the department says the same FBI agent, as well as a New York Police Department detective, were the only 2 witnesses. Max Jiz is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for charges of facilitating Epstein's abuse of girls. Last month, Deputy Attorney Todd Blanche, another dirtbag and a half, according to my sources, in my opinion, who previously served as Trumpster Fire's personal attorney, like damn conflict of interests, interviewed Jiz Max behind closed doors to question her about little E. The Justice Department has not provided any details on the meeting, who took part, or what Maxwell said. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, what say you? Yes. Where did we leave off? Somewhere around here. Lock him up. Better late than never, Fred. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. Little E went to jail for it. Right. Well, you know, when he was in his little fake jail down in Florida after he was given that ridiculous sweetheart deal, I've always suspected that he probably continued with his addiction to children in that extremely horrific and violating way, that he continued that while he was serving his work release time. And it's become apparent that there's evidence that that's exactly what he did when he was at his office 12 hours a day. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. How insidious and wanton the legal how do I say it? The legal system failed these kids so extreme. They were so haphazard. They were so disrespectful and disregarding. it's almost as if the legal system itself raped these kids. I mean, I would imagine that that's what these survivors feel like. It's so freaking hideous how many victims there were and how many victims could have been protected if the laws in place had been enacted by serious professionals. And in my opinion, every unserious, unprofessional involved in any of this crap should pay the price and suffer the consequences of their actions. Lock them up. Let them be victimized by Bubba and see how they like it, right? All of them. Seriously. Like, these are children. And even for the ones that weren't children, it's disgusting. It's despicable. It's heinous, and it looks like they're not going to get away with it. Sometimes it looks like they might, but I don't think that our society is going to tolerate the way Trumpster fire is trying to make it go down in history. I don't think it's going to work, Donnie. Not sorry. Anyway, I'm catching up, right? You're not correct enough for any cabinet position with any administration. Right. Well, just like, I'd be signing on for that $50,000 bonus, sign-on bonus with ICE, and then getting paid close to $100,000, like never a clock. Like, you could pay me $50 million. I still wouldn't do it. I really wouldn't. I couldn't. It's insane. And for any fool that does it, I pity those fools, except that they don't deserve the pity. I'm sure that there's tons of creeps that will be happy to sign on and be people's worst nightmare. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people, it seems, in my opinion, that would be not only willing to do that, but happy to do that, like the Stephen Miller types. So thank you for the compliment, BoobTube. Not correct enough. Corrupt, not corrupt enough. Okay. I thought you meant, politically correct, incorrect, that kind of thing. But yeah, I think that my husband is uncorruptible too. Not that we agree on everything and not that he's perfect, but being in law enforcement and not being corruptible is not the norm, unfortunately. Very unfortunately. And that's just my opinion, right? Fred Field, neurologist appointment, no change, but looking into strength and flexibility therapy for my legs. Well, I'm glad that there's no change and that you're looking into strength and flexibility therapy for your legs. May I recommend my yin yoga routine? I'm serious, man. It is an amazing workout. I can't believe that I've been doing that same workout for about a year now, and I still feel it. Like, it's a really good workout. And if it's beyond your level of expertise, just opt out of whatever doesn't feel right and just modify whatever doesn't feel right. But I always recommend for people to clear it with a physician before they start any kind of new routine, exercise routine, even walking. Always consult with a physician before starting something new. Excuse spelling, yes. I hope you feel better soon, Fred. That's good. My heart goes out to you, Fred. Why did I think that said that's good? What? I need my eyes checked. I hope it works, Fred. It is hideous. The victims have been treated like trash. And so many of these victims are speaking out for the first time. Some of them anonymously and some of them with their faces and their names. And for each one of them, it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. I think there's a lot more positive like that brewing behind the scenes than we know about. a lot more. And I'm sure that there's a lot more evil crap brewing behind the scenes as well. But I believe that the good is going to win. I believe in our country. I do. I believe in our system. And I don't think that there's enough morons in these high positions of power to allow this crap to go down. I even think that some of the morons in those high positions of power that have facilitated this crap going down, I honestly believe that there's going to be a mutiny with them because this douchebag little T is so effing deranged, trying to run out on the rooftop on a Saturday night to hoot and holler to distract people. Like, what? The guy who claims that he was grazed by a bullet a year ago. And that's another thing. Butler, where the alleged assassination attempt happened, is not that far from this, is it called Clairton? Yeah, Clairton, Pennsylvania, where the steel company blew up today. I think it's about less than 60 miles. So Butler is north of Pittsburgh, and Clairton, I think, is just like 15 minutes south of Pittsburgh. And again, why do so many of these hideous things happen in Governor Shapiro's state? Just like so many of these hideous things happen in Governor Newsom's state. And then we've got the hideous things that have happened in Governor Abbott's state. But Governor Abbott is a corrupt, evil MF that is trying to hitch his wagon to the Trumpster fire. I mean, what a dirt bag. I really think all those people care about is money and greed. They don't care about, well, I guess they care about power too. So anyway, let me read your comments. Yes, the victims have been treated like trash and abused. It is so sad. I have minimum symptoms boob tube, just trying to slow progression. Yeah, that's awesome, Fred Field. Because, yeah, Parkinson's is what Michael J. Fox has been living with for a long time. And he's still acting, isn't he? Boob tube says, well, that makes me feel a little better hearing that, Fred. Yeah, absolutely. Stay healthy. You have to have something wrong with you if you want to be an ICE agent. Well, and there's standards. They have none. Like, you have to be 18 and that's it. So again, going back to that South Park, the newer one of my favorite parts of that South Park episode is where they have this like little advertisement on TV with a song about being an ICE agent. And if you need a job, it's a job to have. It's really funny. If you need a job, it's a job to have. Something like that. Anyway, yeah, you definitely have to have something wrong with you. And then these people that, don't even have to have a high school diploma, I don't think. You just have to be 18. And I don't know if they're doing background checks on them or not, mental health, physical health, legal trouble. I don't know. It wouldn't seem to me that they would give a crap about any of that, because if they were going to be checking those things, they'd probably lose a lot of their candidates, because those are going to be the type of people that would sign up for that. I mean, sure, I understand that some people are just so desperate for a job and for money that they might feel like they don't have any other option. But I beg of you, if you're one of those people, don't put yourself through that torture, because it will have some major, major fallout, I'm sure. And, if you're doing something illegal, it doesn't matter if you're following orders from your superior. If you're doing something illegal, you will be charged with that illegal action. So some of these ICE agents are probably going to get charged for any illegal activity that they've been a party to, I would imagine. I really think that in the end, everybody in this administration is going to be held accountable for their crimes. We can't have it. We can't have the lawlessness. But let me finish up with your comments, and then I want to talk a little bit more about Alaska freaks, that the freaks from Russia and the US, the world leaders who think that they're going to have a meeting there on Friday to discuss, quote unquote, a swapping of territories. It seems that there's a lot of people thinking exactly where my mind went with that initially, which is, are they going to try to give Alaska back to Russia? I mean, Russia didn't give it to us. We bought it from them. And there's not a very high population in Alaska, but those are some serious people. The Alaskan population, serious fighters, serious survivalists. I mean, like real life survivalists. You can't live in that climate and not be hardcore. So I don't think that that would go over so well. Donnie and Vladdy, you might want to check yourselves. Be right out to check the mail for bills. I think you meant be right back, BRT. It's like BLT? Are you offering me a BLT? You just got the R wrong? No, I think Fred meant be right back out to check the mail for bills. Always exciting to get bills, right? Anna B says it's good for you, Fred. I do her yoga as well as I can. Oh, that is so awesome, Anna Bees. I thought that you were doing it. Yeah, I do it as well as I can too. And some days are better than others, you know. The hardest parts I have thought from the beginning, and I still think, I think the bow, doing the bow is really hard. It's not as hard as it used to be, but man, that used to be so hard. Doing the camel, also very hard. But the boat is probably the hardest to me, but that's getting easier too. And I'm so glad that I'm doing it. Again, as we age, it's even more important to take care of our health and posture. You know, the yoga is really good for posture. He's a dirtbag. I'm not sure which you're talking about. The Trumpster Fire, the Stephen Miller, anyway. Yeah, they're all dirtbags. I knew a border agent complete a-hole. To be fair, not all of them are. Yeah, I mean, again, it's a reputable job, but you know, you can't really be a caring person and do that kind of work. I mean, it's just not compatible. It's really not. Texas is a weird state, and their law enforcement is particularly unique. I think they call themselves marshals, right? The Texas Marshals. Isn't that what they call themselves? Let me see. Make sure I'm getting that right. Law enforcement in Texas. Well, they do have police. Federal, state, county, and municipal agencies. So I thought that they just had what are Texas law enforcement officers called? Oh, the Rangers. That's right. Correct? I think it's Rangers. I said marshals. That was crossing the wires. Yes, Texas law enforcement officers are sometimes called Texas Rangers. The Texas Rangers are an elite investigative division within the Texas Department of Public Safety. They are I thought it was supposed to be an historic. You change that back and forth. And iconic law enforcement agency in Texas, known for their investigative skills and involvement in major cases. Here's more about the Texas Rangers. I'm going to read through this quickly because it is interesting. And thanks for bringing that up, Annabise. Let's see. Texas Rangers were established in 1823, making them the oldest law enforcement agency in North America. That's fascinating. Modern role. Today, the Rangers serve as the primary criminal investigative branch of the Texas Department of Public Safety. Duties. They investigate major violent crimes, public corruption. What? Cold cases, officer-involved shootings, and oversee border security operations. Specialized operations. The Ranger Division also includes specialized teams like SWAT, crisis negotiation units, and explosive ordnance disposal. Statewide jurisdiction. The Texas Rangers have statewide jurisdiction, meaning they can operate anywhere within the state of Texas. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So, I want to share with you guys that I am seriously considering a job opportunity with doing that type of mental health crisis intervention nationwide. So if I do that, I would still want to be doing my lives with you guys as often as possible, and possibly even daily still. But I'd be traveling, so you wouldn't get the chakra tower every time. And, now that my kids are older, I only have one at home. It's a position that was offered to me about 15 years ago when I first moved from Washington State to Ohio. And I'd been doing some contracts with the company that organizes that process. So anyway, I haven't wanted to mention it unless I'm actually doing it, but since it came up with what I just read, I thought I'd just throw that out there. Anyway, I'm not going to abandon my people. I'm not going to abandon my channel. Never, no matter what. I'm going to keep doing this because this is the bomb. I love my YouTubing. So thanks for being here. Where was I? Yes, let's talk about Alaska. That's not Russia, even though we bought it. Yes, so let's just talk about it right there so that I don't forget to, because if I try to read more comments and then I'll forget, and then I'll watch my video later and I'm like, dang, I never went back to it. Okay, so Russia was purchased, or Russia sold us Alaska. Alaska was purchased by our state, I think roughly about 100, what year? Dang it. I want to say 100 years ago. But let me just fact check myself. I think it was $7 million or $7.1 million to be exact. When did the United States of America purchase Alaska from Russia? Okay, it wasn't that far off. I was about to say 150 years ago. I stopped myself because I'm like, am I tripping? So yeah, it's slightly more than 150 years ago. Man, time flies. How can it be that long? Because when I was born, it was only 100 years. So now it's been 158 years. Alaska was purchased March 30th, 1867. And it was 7.2 million. I was off by a 0.1. Close enough. And yeah, I don't think they realized the rare earth minerals involved in the deal. And so I'm sure that they want them back now, right? Or they want more money for them. But let me just give you my opinion about this whole thing with Vladdy and Donnie talking about meeting up in Alaska on Friday. I've been to Alaska 3 times, and probably most people haven't been there even one time because it's really far away and there's really, not to be condescending, it's an amazing place, but there's not a lot there other than bears, mountains, glaciers, whales. I mean, it's great for hunting. It's great for the cruise ships, an Alaska cruise. There's a lot of suffering, a lot of really hard living, and a lot of crazy stories of non-survival because you can't go up against the elements like that. You just can't. People don't understand. They go to Alaska and they're like, yeah, I'm just going to go out and canoe or whatever. And they literally end up falling down a waterfall or something. It's crazy, the stories that you hear about Alaska. Anyway, there's not a lot there. Even in the big city of Anchorage, there's not that much there. There are a couple of department stores and a couple of nice restaurants and hotels, but I can't imagine a place fancy enough for dear Donnie Fancy Pants to hang out with Vladdy. I mean, really? I don't know. Maybe there's something that I'm unaware of, right? I mean, it's not like I've been there a lot. I've been to Anchorage once. I've been to Sitka once. I've been to Ketchikan once. And it's beautiful. I love Alaska. But like I said, you have to be hardcore to live there. Like that old TV show, Northern Exposure, kind of says it all. Anyway, I'm not going to keep droning on and on about that. What I want to drone on and on about is WTF are they doing meeting there? First of all, Vladdy's not allowed in any country. I mean, he's a war criminal. He should be arrested as soon as he moves out of his own territory. So one of my thoughts is that Trumpster Fire is tricking him so that he can arrest him. My main thought is that Vladdy is blackmailing him right now because Vladdy probably knows as much as Jizz and as much as Little E about all the bad crap that Donnie has done in his lifetime. And Vladdy probably owns the receipts. And I think he owns Donnie, honestly. I think that his country bailed Donnie out to the tune of billions of dollars, and that with interest, they own his hiney. So I think he's being blackmailed. That's what I think. And I think it's another distraction. Get us talking about that. Anything but the Epstein files. Like, we'd much rather talk about Russia. Shan's here. Woohoo! I see your little, it's like a flame that is the flag. Oh, I'm so excited to see you. And everyone else, too. You guys know I don't have favorites, right? How are you, dear? Where do I go from here? Where was I? Rangers. Let's talk about Alaska. Okay, that's where I left off. Native Alaskans will not go for being part of Russia. And I have a very, very close friend who is half Native Alaskan. So I get a lot of very good information from her about such things. And that's who I knew in Anchorage when I went up there to visit a couple of decades ago. When I was pregnant with my first kid, actually. Let's see. Annaby says all of them are dirtbags. Rangers, Fred Field was on it. The Texas Rangers. There's a few with compassion right now, but they have to be careful so that they don't lose their jobs, Anna. I appreciate the few I have been told about. Annaby says even Texan Mexican Americans are weird. They are prejudiced against their own people who are not American. Dang. Is so sad. True, Anna, many are. You do what you need to do to enrich your life, Jazz, and happy free Jazz. Oh, with the work possibility. I mean, I've been deliberating going that route ever since they first offered it to me, which was 15 years ago, or 17 years ago now. 16 years ago when I first moved here. So, listening in while I pick dried tomato seeds from paper towels for next year. Congrats, Jess. Take the job. Well, I've been since I've had children, I've been very flexible with my career and with myself. And, I've worked full time, I've worked part time, I've run my own private practice, I've juggled odd jobs, I've gardened for people, I've been a substitute teacher, I worked front desk at a hotel. I've done a lot of different things to support myself and the family. And the kids have been the priority, especially with having a spouse who's a first responder who needs to be available pretty much 24/7, 365 in the event of a major crisis. So I've always made myself completely available for the kids. The first few years I was a mom, I've confessed to you guys before, I had a full-time nanny, and then I found myself plotting, how can I get her job? Seriously. So yeah, we had a wonderful full-time nanny for, I can't remember exactly if it was like 2 or 4 years. And she was fantastic. We had a really good one. We only had the one. So, and then I got her job. So I've held on to it tight ever since. And like I said, I've juggled other hustles to have an income, and I've kept up my licensure. I've done some consulting. So I've been licensed forever now. Oh man, I've been licensed for over 25 years. That makes me feel so old. But that's good, right? That's a good thing. Being old is much better than the alternative. So how are you, Shanda? Yeah, what do you think about that steel plant with the explosion? That's in your neck of the woods, right? Dang. I thought of you right away when I looked it up on a map, because I knew right away that it was close to Pittsburgh, and then wanted to know exactly where it was. Because I'm not that far from Pittsburgh. I think I'm like how many hours drive? 5 hours? Maybe not even a 5-hour drive from Pittsburgh. I don't know. Anyway, yes, that's awesome with your gardening. And so nice to see you. Thanks for coming in, my dear. Everyone's excited to see you. I wouldn't want to live up there. Anchorage is pretty, but no thanks. Well, and I find myself, when I said like it's good for cruise ships, it's like I'm not a fan of cruise ships. I've never been on a cruise ship. I don't really ever want to go on a cruise ship. But I would think of all the ways to see Alaska, that would be one of the nicest ways to see it. Because then you're not suffering in the elements as much as you would be in the other ways. And I've traveled around Anchorage. We drove from Anchorage to Homer. Homer's gorgeous. I could almost see living in Homer. But I don't think I could do Alaska. I really don't. I mean, vacationing there is one thing, but living there, totally different. And yeah, a lot of people move up there and then say no thanks. Just like what you said, BoobTube. Helby says, haha, a bit like Scotland minus the bears. Only thing that brings Donnie here is his golf course. Yeah. Anna, I never got your email, by the way. And Anna says, cool, BoobTube. Tell me if I'm tripping. LOL. You're in Scotland, Helby. Oh, it's so beautiful there. Helby, the pics of Scotland are beautiful. I've heard that's one of the most beautiful places to visit. You're so lucky to live there. You ain't tripping, Anna. You're always over the target. And man, my braces are really bugging out the back of my tongue. I'm going to have to wrap it up soon. Dang it. It's so nice to see you guys. Let me read through the rest of your comments and then look at my notes. Um, and my wax, I could try that. That might help. I don't know. That's kind of a hard spot where it's hitting. Um, yes, boob tube. About as far north as you can go. It is lovely here, but a bit remote where I am. And Anna, it's lovely, especially when it's sunny. South, beautiful land there. He'll be no work today, but still had 2,400 steps. 7 to 8,000 if working. Wow, that's amazing, Fred. That is amazing. Yeah, I don't count steps, but I know a lot of people that do and try to do. I don't know, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. I'm not sure. Going back to listening like originally planned. LOL. Have a good day, everyone. And yes, let's see. Off to watch the news to see if Little D sent National Guards to more cities. Oh, I didn't know that that was the plan to send it to any more cities today. I thought it was just the DC. But I don't know if there'll be any reconsideration with the lawsuit that is happening, that was announced, the surprise lawsuit in California for that same thing. Because, yeah, I mean, you can't just break the law because you can't just say that you are the law. Like, no one's above the law. Not even the president. And swapping of territories where Putin visits, I'd rather have him arrested instead. Yeah, I mean, if that's an idea, I don't think it's an idea that anybody would be okay with, whether they have anything to do with Alaska or not. I mean, that's just crazy. But I don't know if that's the idea. I do not know. Um, and let's see. Shan, do you know about the steel plant with the explosion there, with the people injured and trapped? I don't know. Let me see if there's an update. That's so scary. Pennsylvania steel plant update. 1 dead, 2 unaccounted for, dozens hurt from explosions. Oh, multiple explosions, more than one. So, man. U.S. Steel, Clairton, Coke Works. So is that like Coca-Cola? Or steel coking is something entirely different, I think. Not anything to do with Coca-Cola. Let me see real quick. What is steel coking? I'm sure Shan knows, right? Um, well, this is steel cooking. No. Take out one of those O's. It's the process of converting coal into coke, a crucial component in steel production. This process involves heating coal in the absence of oxygen to extremely high temperatures, which removes volatile compounds and impurities, leaving behind a carbon rich mineral called coke. Coke is then used as a fuel and a reducing agent in blast furnaces to produce steel. Wow. Yeah, it sounds very dangerous, doesn't it? 25 minutes from you and it's bad. Can you smell it? Um, can you see it? Can you smell it? Because, yeah, dang. I mean, steel is what Pennsylvania is all about, especially in that area, right? Um, yeah, I wonder about the pollution So it's been updated in the last hour. Did they get all the people out that were trapped other than the 2 that are unaccounted for? Do you know, Shan? It is so scary. Can't imagine something like that. Let's see. Swapping of territories. Okay. 25 minutes from Shan. Coke, as in coal. It's Coke for steel. Yeah. That is wild. And let me look at my notes. Sorry that I'm having so much trouble reading the red pen. July 27th. Huh. I'm not sure what I was referring to with July 27th. I'll have to look into that later. But yeah, the criminal trial in San Francisco, that's just huge. That's absolutely huge. And then what we were talking about yesterday with Doug Wilson and that weird nationalist church crap in Idaho that is swooping into the government. I think it's extremely suspicious that Doug Wilson's name came up a lot in the Idaho 4 case and that it is coming up a lot now. I don't know. Shan, have you done any videos since the anniversary of our dear Kylie? I've been looking at your channel, but I haven't seen any new ones, I don't think. And I'm not trying to put pressure on you. I'm just asking if I've missed them, or maybe if they're on. I don't know if you're still doing the So Fire channel. I don't think I've checked that one. Coke burns hotter than coal, heats the steel to harden it and makes it more pure. No, too many mountains and hills. I can't even see the next town from this valley. No idea. Yeah. So as more and more survivors speak out and with legal representation, I do have faith that the truth is going to come out. I do. I don't think that the survivors are going to allow being victimized again by our system. And I don't think that our society is going to allow it either. As sexist as our society can be and is, I think that it's not the 1950s anymore. And we're not going back to the Handmaid's Tale, right? We're just not doing it. Anyway, let's see, 3 or 5 big balls types of attacks would be much more. I started with this. That'd be a much better way to try to say, oh yeah, we need to do this with having the military come into Washington, D.C. But really to say that that needs to happen because Big Balls was attacked one time by 10 teenagers, allegedly, none of it on videotape, no surveillance of any of it coming or going. And then what the graffiti and signs falling in the median, yeah, that requires getting the military involved. I mean, again, if it's an illegal order and the soldiers, the guardsmen are following illegal orders, then they can be charged and held accountable to. So it's just a very unfortunate predicament for leadership to put our nation in. Very unfortunate predicament. So, Shan, I know you and I don't see eye to eye at all on that matter. So I'm wanting to just bring that up and say, I love you, my dear, and we can agree to disagree. It's just mind boggling. This little e crap, this jizz crap, and just dragging us all through this. And, re traumatizing the survivors. It's just a freaking nightmare. No, ma'am, just the short video. I've been busy with work and gardening, now prepping for school to start. What type of work are you doing? I figured you were super busy with the gardening. When you say prepping for school, do you mean for I remember your son's name, but I won't say it just out of courtesy for privacy. I was going to say his nickname, but I won't. One of the dogs is playing with a squeaky toy. And are you talking about for your kid going back to school, or are you prepping for school? Are you like subbing or something like that? Or are you going back to school, girl? I don't know. It's been a while. So yeah, I put a couple of your videos. I linked them up in my videos last week with the anniversary of Kylie's tragedy, and in particular your AI video, that like 2 or 3 minute one. I remember when you first dropped that, and I was impressed with it then, and I'm just as impressed with it now. It's very, very skilled work that you do there, my dear. So yeah, I got braces last week, and it sucks. It's been exactly a week today, and I try not to talk other than when I'm on my lives. I try not to eat. I'm not even kidding. I mostly have been drinking my nourishment, and it's just really rough. But I'm glad that I have them. I needed them, and I've been getting vertigo attacks for the last year, and I think that this is going to solve that, because it was like messing with my skull structure. Just this one little tiny space between these teeth down here that just kept getting bigger and bigger. So they said if I didn't get the braces, it was only going to get worse. And I was like, no, I don't want it to get worse. It's bad enough already. That AI video is great, Shan. Yeah, I'll link it up again in today's. I wanted to ask you too, Shan, if you're okay with me taking screenshots of it and using the screenshots for some of my thumbnails, because they're just beautiful. The kind of the animation of Kylie. I would love to do that if you're okay with it. I didn't want to do it without asking your permission. And if you're not okay with it, that's fine too. I can, rather than put you on the spot here, I can send you an email or something. But yes, I love how you brought Kylie to life from the pictures. I know. That's what's so cool. Like I said, I'll link it up again today in this description. So for people that haven't seen it can find it easily and check out Shan's channel and sub up. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to sign off. Gonna say goodnight, everyone. It's around 10:15 here, and I need my beauty sleep. Shan says that VOAI is incredible at bringing pictures to life. Been messing with Grok Imagine as well, also spectacular. Very cool. Yeah, that is extremely cool. Your channel, your views don't make our friendship. Oh, yeah, thank you, girl. That's awesome. Because yeah, I mean, I love ya. You do you, I do me, and it's really cool. I feel like it's really cool that we can see past that and just focus on Kylie and who we are as people. And just, Kylie is what brought all of us together. I think most of us that are here in the chat right now. I don't know if Helby was part of the Kylie crew. I can't remember, Helby, if you want to chime in on that. But most of the people that come into my chat are Kylie crew folks. And yeah, I want to keep covering Kylie. I mean, I felt like I kind of felt pressure, honestly, although I don't mind the pressure. I felt a little bit of pressure to cover her more with the anniversary of it. But then I also just felt like kind of leaving it alone with the anniversary of it, Shan, honestly. And then I heard myself say, like, the honor in the silence, right? You got to laugh or cry. Um, but yeah, I just want to keep on covering it. I just don't buy any of the crap that they're trying to sell us. And then, Shan, did you notice in my thumbnail from yesterday, I put a photograph of Kylie next to photographs of Virginia Giuffre. And I had never realized how much they resembled each other. But it was E. Jean Carroll that wrote a book called Not My Type. She's the one who won close to $90 million of damages from being assaulted by El Presidente years ago in the dressing room. I think it was in the early 90s, the dressing room at Bergdorf and Goodman in New York. And then I think she won like $5 million in the assault lawsuit, and then she won like another $82 million of damages from defamation. Him saying that she was lying. Anyway, the book that she wrote, Not My Type, that she titled it that because that's what he kept saying, like that he didn't do it, that she's not his type. And then in his deposition, he even attacked the attorney at one point and said, you're not my type either, not to be insulting or anything. But in that same deposition, he got confused looking at a photograph of E. Jean Carroll in the deposition. It was him, E. Jean Carroll, her husband at the time, and his wife at the time, which was Ivana. And after saying that E. Jean Carroll wasn't his type, he looked at that photograph. He didn't recognize Ivana standing next to him. He just looked at E. Jean Carroll and he pointed to her and he said, "That's Marla. That's my wife." It's just like, how can you confuse the victim with your wife when you said that the victim's not your type? Anyway, it's just so weird. It's just so weird. And then looking at the similarities, I mean, a lot of the victims of these heinous crimes are kind of your typical young females with the long blonde hair, and they often do resemble kind of a look or a type, almost like a Barbie kind of protege of beauty. And it was just so striking to me to notice how much Virginia Giuffre and Kylie actually look alike. And if somebody like, let's say, little E had a type and Virginia fit that type, then somebody like Natalie Holloway could fit that type. And, Kylie her tragedy was after the death of little E. I believe that he's deceased. I know some people think that he might not be. But anyway, it's just if Virginia was somebody's type, then Kylie could be that same person's type too. They look so much alike. It just blew my mind. It also blew my mind that I had never noticed. But, when I was so hyper focused on Kylie, I don't think Virginia was on my radar at all. So I guess it makes sense. Rather keep that off YouTube. Oh, okay, no problem. Yeah. Fee in school. 11th grade in the SATs. Yeah. I don't care if anyone uses my videos. Okay, but okay. See, I was thinking when you said rather keep that off of YouTube, that you meant like me screenshotting the from your video, the AI video, but you're okay with it sounds like you're okay with that. You're not okay with talking about that other crap on YouTube. And the funny thing is that's pretty much all I talk about these days, Shan, to be totally honest. So, I figured you knew that, but I don't know. I mean, we haven't had a lot of interaction, so that's cool. Before you go, did you hear about the 19-year-old boy who went to Florida with his mom? His cousins from his dad's side picked him up to go visit his dad, and they said he freaked out and ran away. No, I haven't heard that at all, Anna Bees. But I have gotten a little bit more about that 10-year-old boy who went missing from Kentucky last week. And it seems like his mother is probably the person of interest in his disappearance. And that's very tragic. Let me give you his name. Let's see if you guys have heard about it. Let's see. 10-year-old boy 10-year-old boy missing from Kentucky. He's such a cutie pie. Jaden Spicer. So from Jackson, Kentucky. So he disappeared overnight or early morning, August 6th. I have a very bad feeling about it. It looks like JLR Investigates did a video about his stepdad 19 hours ago. I'll have to check that out. Oh, poor kid. That's terrible. Love and all blessings to everyone by Shan. Jaden Spicer. Hey, Ninji True Crime. Lovely to see you, my dear. Covering his case reminds me of Gannon. Oh, good. I'll check out your channel for that coverage, Ninji. Ninchi, thanks for being here. So, Shan, I'm going to take that as a yes then, that I can take cool screenshots from your AI video and use them as thumbnails. And I'll share all the profits with you. I mean, I joke because we both know there aren't any, right? Oh, it's just an honor to it would really be an honor to use those images because they are so cool. They're so beautiful. Stepdad, multiple charges. So the other one is 19 years old, Giovanni Pelletier. That's interesting. The last name is the same, I think, as that sheriff from Maui, John Pelletier. I think. I'll have to check that out too. All right. Well, love and light, you guys. It's so nice to see the old crew show up. I hate to sign off, but yeah, an hour and 15 minutes is about my max, I think, with these damn braces. Anyway, you guys are the bomb. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one. I'm going to keep shooting for 2 o'clock each day. I didn't get to come on until about 4 today, but I'm going to keep shooting for about 2 o'clock on every weekday this week. They found him in a retention pond not far from where his phone and backpack the side of the road. Ooh, are you talking about the 19-year-old in Florida or the 10-year-old in Kentucky? That's awful. Jaden Spicer, I would imagine. Let's see. Jaden Spicer found. Wait, no, Jaden Spicer's the little kid. He's not found. What was the other one's name? Giovanni Pelletier. Let's see. Giovanni Pelletier found. Yep, 2 days ago. Crazy. So he was from North Carolina. 18 years old, it says here. near an off ramp of Interstate 75. How bizarre. Manatee County. Disgusting. Disgusting. Heartbreaking. Let's see. Bye, everyone. Have a great day. The later ones are good for me. Just woke up a while ago. Oh, well, that's good to know, Ninji. Um, yeah, I try to do them as early as I can just because mostly that's when I'm more focused. But also, if I'm planning on doing it later and then it gets pushed back, I might not be able to get it done at all, right? No, talking about Giovanni, it's very sus about his cousins. Dad's family aren't talking. Well, I mean, sadly, whenever somebody's a victim of a crime, I think it's as high as like 80% of the time it's friends or family. It's extremely high. So that's always going to be your first suspects. And of course, the last people to see the person alive. I mean, and we can apply that to Kylie's case too, right? So, all right, you guys, I am going to sign off. Love and light. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Drink your water, eat your protein, and eat your fruits and veggies, or drink your fruits and veggies and drink your protein if that's what you have to do. Thanks again. I do lurk and listen when you're on earlier if I'm awake. That's nice to know. Thanks, dear. I will check out your videos on that. And see you tomorrow, hopefully, people. Take care. Thanks again.